Good Law Project wins first court case on Bell v Tavistock ruling. For those that don't know what I mean by the Bell v Tavistock ruling, that was a ruling towards the end of last year which attacks Gillett competence, which is the ability for a child who understands a medical procedure to a well enough degree that a doctor is convinced that they can consent to consent. Gillett competence was, of course, created famously over contraception use. A conservative Christian woman took a bunch of doctors to court over the facts that they were prescribing birth control to girls, stating that by prescribing them birth control, you are condoning sex with minors. Excuse me. Which the court just found like, no, okay, these children are going to have sex anyway, at least they can have contraception. It also helps with other things as well. So it was established. It was a big feminist principle. If a child can understand or demonstrate an understanding of a procedure to a well enough degree that they can show they clearly understand it, they have the autonomy to consent.
Sorry, I just want to be very, very clear about this specifically. Is birth control really helps with things like period pain and heavy flow. It's used to treat PCOS. Some minors need birth control medically, not for anything sexual, but just for their bodies, and it can be really fucking debilitating if they don't get it. So stop trying to block birth control. You're actually physically hurting people. Please.
Of course, this is because it's quite an old case like this. This became the standard of youth health coverage in the UK. It's Gillett competence. This, of course, meant that if trans people could demonstrate a good enough understanding of the procedures, they could, in theory, consent to puberty blockers and then hormone, HRT and surgery. This got blocked by the court. There was this person who transitioned after she was an adult, because the full age of medical consent in the UK is 16. She was above the age of 16. She transitioned. She regretted it. And she decided for some reason she wanted to make life hell for under 16s. She wanted to transition. Again, she transitioned as an adult. It was an absolute farce, but somehow it made it through. The court ruled that children could not understand the procedure, so therefore could not give consent. Overnight, healthcare was stripped away from all trans youth receiving puberty blockers under the NHS. And it fucked over a lot of stuff. It hurt a lot of people. It was part of a very dark few months. Just before this, there'd been attempts made to shut down one of the few independent medical providers in the UK for trans people, Gender GP. Thankfully, that failed. So a lot of the people who are no longer being helped by the NHS could be in turn helped by them instead. But yeah, it really was just a horrific time for everyone. Thankfully, the Good Law Project, which is an organisation that fights on behalf of human rights, took up the mantle. They fundraised a trans defence fund, and they have started taking things to court. Now, this ruling is only a partial ruling. This ruling that they just received means that supportive parents of trans children can consent on the children's behalf. And now you might go, well, wait a second, wasn't the original court case on Gillett competence and stopping trans children consenting for themselves, specifically in cases of abusive families? Well, yes, but here's the thing. Tavistock decided to fuck around and set it in their rules that they would not accept consent by parents, which is why everyone under the NHS who was receiving puberty blockers was stripped of it. The court, which included one of the judges behind the original thing, has ruled that actually no, this does not stand. If parents want to consent on behalf of their children for this procedure, i.e. fully reversible puberty blockers, which are completely medically safe, they are free to do so. So at least part of the people who have been affected will hopefully be put back on the blockers, and more people can begin to be seen for treatment. Of course, just because the court ruled this doesn't necessarily mean they're going to. Because the NHS was prepared to strip away these protections with the original Bell case. Within the hour, people were receiving notices that their puberty blockers had been withdrawn, that they would no longer be receiving that service. So the Good Law Project has decided not to play around. They actually went ahead and they have given the NHS 7 days notice to get their shit together and start resuming puberty blocker services for trans youth with supportive parents. If they don't, the Good Law Project will seek lawsuit. So, like, it's not the entire case dealt with. There will be another hearing on, I think it is the 23rd of June. There will be another hearing which will hopefully undo the damage done to Gillick competence. But for at least now, they have dealt away with Tavistock's bullshit. We will not accept consent from the parents. So at least hopefully that means some trans people will start receiving medication there, which frees up other services for the trans people who sadly can't right now.